everybody? B Squared here. Kind of trying something new today. I had an idea where it might be cool if I take some baits and break down the ins and outs with them. It might be an ongoing thing. It may be something I do once and pretend never happened. Either way, exciting stuff going on. Fall transition, bass are getting more active, they're feeding up. That's what we want. So the two baits I'm going through today are two that are really awesome for manipulating them during this time period. So let's check them out. Oh yeah, talking crankbaits. So we've got the CD2, which is the bill variety, and then the Rip Knocker, which is the Lipless variety. This really isn't about which one's better, which one is going to catch more fish. It's just about how the baits work and when you're more likely to have success using them. We're not saying I'm Team Square Bill or Team Lipless because who cares? I'm not contradicting myself, but I have to make it known a square bill crank is one of my favorite lures to throw, period. So a little bit about these guys. They float. They work in the 2 to 4 foot range. That bill is going to give them a wide wobble and hunting action. And they actually displace a pretty good bit of water for being such a small, compact little bait. So that's going to be pretty different from what you're seeing with the Lipless. So the Rip Knocker here, the depth is way more versatile. You can work them however you want to. They're going to have a way tighter wobble. They're louder, and you're going to be able to use them in situations that you're not going to be able to use the square bill and vice versa. So let's kind of start thinking in that department. So with water clarity, I know for me, my sweet spot, I like stained water. I don't like chocolate milk water. Clear water is actually really hard for me to fish in. But if you are fishing clear water, it never crosses my mind how much water displacement a bait's making. I just think color, and I go way more natural in clear water. But the Rip Knocker or a Lipless is going to be way more effective in clear water because it's more subtle. Fish don't need that wide water displacement to see the bait if the water is clear. So if you're causing a lot of disruption, it might just kind of turn the fish away from the thing. And like I said, as far as color goes, I tend to throw more natural in clear water. This is the Grimace color from Jinko Fish Inc. I think it would be awesome in stained water. But again, clear, I'd probably go something a little more natural. So to sum that up, in clear water, a Lipless is going to be more subtle, which actually could be an advantage in that scenario. Where in stained water, you're going to want to cause a little more water displacement and get the fish to really see that bait and attack. So the next variable would be structure. And as bass fishermen, we're always keyed in on structure because guess what? The fish are too. So this is where you are going to kind of see some more perks between one and the other. So with the CD2, the square bill, I am not afraid to throw these anywhere. So if you're working around a lot of logs and rocks and so forth, the CD2 is amazing at deflecting off that structure. So if it's swimming down, your hooks are going to be up. So when it hits, it's going to hit here. And like I said, these float. So if you just lay off your retrieve a little bit, it's going to come back up and then you can start right back in. That deflection strike is crucial. That's what gets the fish fired up. More times than not, you're going to get bit on this after you bump something rather than just running it in open water. So with the Lipless here, I think the one structure that I would prefer it in, I didn't mention rocks with the square bill, but yes, rocks and square bills, good stuff. So this guy is just, they can go over logs and rocks. It's just I'm way less likely to get hung up with a square bill. But the advantage is I'm way more successful ripping this through grass or weeds than I would be with that CD2 because the bill is just going to act like a snowplow and catch all that stuff where this will come through clean. So definitely target structure with your crankbaits no matter which one you're throwing, what time of year, who cares? Throw it at structure. That deflection bite is awesome. So lastly, seasonally, when am I throwing which one? We'll start with fall because that's what we're in. In the fall, I'm down to throw either one of them, especially if I'm targeting that structure. Like I said, I'm going square bill. But another thing is, like, I feel like the fish have different temperament changes in fall. And if they're very, very actively feeding, something super loud, like that lipless, might kind of spark that aggression a little bit more, whereas something more subtle and just wide moving, that might get them going on those days where maybe they're a little lethargic or there's a low front moving in or something like that. But in the fall, I am game for either one of them. Winter, this guy goes up. I'll be honest with you. It's a sad day, but the square bill goes away once we're full on in winter. The lipless, though, he can hang out for a little while, and this is why. That square bill is going to float, but this guy sinks, which means I can work it wherever in the water column I want to. So even though it's winter, I can still let this fall close to the bottom because I don't want to be grabbing all that stuff with these trebles, but I can slow roll over any of that. And even though you're going slow, you've still got the sound factor. Another technique that the lipless allows you to do where the square bill would not is yo-yoing it. When you're yo-yo retrieving a lipless, you want to let it fall down close to the bottom and just lift it up almost like you would a jig and then let it fall back down. The difference is you got to kind of have your foot on the brake or it's going to end up right back on the bottom. So keep a semi-tight line, that way it's not falling super fast. But that's a good way to get those like cold lethargic bass to hit. So definitely still effective in the winter. When spring comes back around, guess who comes back? I'm going right back with the square bill more times than not. But I'm going to mix this in too. And same with summer. The only difference being we know it gets super hot in the summer and the bass behave accordingly. So if we're throwing some stuff kind of targeting shallow, you've got to use your head a little bit and go early in the day, late in the evening, kind of when they're up feeding in general. So yeah, just breaking down the actions and the uses of these two styles of crankbaits. If you're not someone that throws a crankbait, I definitely recommend kind of playing around with them just because, number one, they're awesome to cover a bunch of water with. And right here when we're in fall, we know they're stacked up feeding somewhere. So we got to cover and find them as soon as possible. Number two, when they hit these things, they hit them to straight eat. So that's always a fun thing. And it's a good tool to have, a lot of different usage. And hopefully you guys can kind of get out there and apply some of this. Maybe in the comments, spark a topic. Maybe I can learn something from you guys. But yeah, like I said, trying something new, breaking some stuff down. Maybe it's a series, maybe it's not. Let me know what you think. Regardless, get out there and get on some fatties right now. See you guys later.